3, 2.
I'm Kirkwood with Lex TV. I'd like to welcome you to our first segment of Ask a Vet. Today I have World War II U.S. Navy Corpsman Jack Ditmeyer with me. Hi Jack, and welcome. What motivated you to enlist in the military?
Let me say one
Yes, sir.
thing. If you see me at the airport, don't ever say hi, Jack. We'll both be in trouble.
What should I call you? What would be better?
You missed it. Don't ever say hi, Jack, to me
Oh.
at the airport. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Nice, that's funny. I got you. I understand. It took me a minute. What motivated you to enlist in the military?
I was 17 years old. 16, I guess, when the war started. And I guess when I was about 4 years old, my mother had me in a Navy uniform. Don't ask me why. I never wanted to be anything but a sailor.
Right.
So when Pearl Harbor, I was in Boy Scout camp. We were walking back and we heard some shooting. We got to where these two young men were shooting guns, and we said, "How come you're shooting? You mean you didn't know we were at war?" So we said no. So Scoutmaster took us back. We got took all the camp stuff down, and then we went home. I graduated from high school when I was 17 years old. I couldn't wait to go to the service.
Right.
As a matter of fact, my mother and dad told me, "No, you can't go." And I said, "Well, I'm going to run away." So my parents finally signed. I was 17 when I went into the service.
Wow. Goodness gracious. Can you describe your title and duties as a corpsman?
Well, I went in when they interviewed me. They said, let me know what your experiences are. Well, when you're 17 years old, I said, well, I got out of school early. I worked on the mill and mine supply.
Right.
And then I said I worked in the drugstore before that. They said, well, anything else? I said, yeah, I was a Boy Scout. That was put in my record. So I went through Corps School, and at that time, they decided, since I was a Boy Scout, knew first aid, I become a hospital corpsman. I had to go through school.
Right.
And when I went through that part of the school, then there were no nurses aboard any vessels. So I was trained as an operating room technician.
Interesting. Can you share a little about being a Navy corpsman serving with the Marine Corps?
Well, I was never a Marine, okay? No. And you may have heard this before. I've been coming aboard the ship now for about 14 years. And one of the things, if you go down, I used to take the first part of it. And then the second part of it, Charles Culpepper would take over. And I would go through and I would say, okay, Charles will take you through the rest of it. And he would say to me, well, first of all, Jack was in the Navy. And he got to sleep in a nice bunk. If it rained, he didn't get rained on. He said, now I was in the Navy, but I was a Marine Corps. Marine Corps do not have any corpsmen.
Oh,
and he said, well, he had a nice place to sleep. I slept in the rice paddy, so forth and so on, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he and I worked together for many years. I probably did not cry when my mother died. I didn't cry. My dad got real upset and slapped the tar out of him. And I said to him, Dad, neither you or my sister were worth anything. I had to make all arrangements. I said, Dad, if I'd cried for every person I saw dead, I'd be a bloody idiot today. Charles Culpepper died. I cried like a baby.
Wow. How did the Marine Corps differ from your regular ship duties?
Okay.
Were there different duties with that?
Well, the Marine Corps corpsman was with the Marines, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I was a pharmacist mate, operating room technicians, we would go, and I'll say, I was in the Philippines, and Iwo Jima was the big one, in Okinawa. We would get in the landing craft with the troops. We would go in, and then we would pick up the wounded and bring them back to the ship. There were more corpsmen killed per percentage-wise than any other people in the military. They were taught, the original ones were taught, when someone yelled, "Corpsman, corpsman," you get up and went to them. Now, they had this 3-inch white with a red cross.
Mm-hmm.
Armband, same thing. First aid kit, the same thing. And when the survivors come back from some of the other things, they said, in order to survive, what you have to do is this. The original corpsmen were taught to stand up when someone said "corpsman, corpsman." They had these Japanese could speak as good English as we could. So they would stand up, go towards them, and made a perfect target. And about 80% of the corpsmen killed shot in the head. Okay? Now, we were the second group going over, and we were taught, since we had no weapons, we were taught that as you were going in these boats to go into shore, took all your armband off, took your first aid kit, put it on the back. As soon as you hit the deck, handful of mud, put it on. We had no rifle. Reach down, the first guy that was dead, you'd pick his rifle up. And then you would go into combat. Now, Mexican Americans use a lot of garlic, right? So they have an odor of their own.
All right.
As a white man, Anglo, we have an odor of our own, kind of a sour type thing, okay? Japanese have a different odor altogether. And you get within about maybe 30 feet from them, you could smell them. So when they called corpsman, corpsman, you didn't stand up. Cut the casualties down about 80%.
Wow. Well, that concludes our segment for today. Thanks, Jack. I really appreciate you helping us out and being here. Make sure to check with Ask a Vet. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask us, please send us a message on Facebook at U.S. Lexington Museum on the Bay. And don't forget to like and follow us on all social media platforms.